welcome back to Straight Line Solutions. Got Jared with me today. We're going to be putting a rear bumper on blue. I went and bought a chunk of C-channel off of a semi-frame. Big old heavy duty C-channel. So we're going to get rid of this dinky little rear bumper that this thing had and weld this C-channel on there and maybe get a couple up bars. We'll kind of explain to you what we're going to try and do as we're going on, but try and get this thing to where we can push cars with it and not bust out a tail light or bend up the quarter panels. So let's get started. Can't even cut a rear bumper off with a torch without having to redneck something. Do not try this at home. About to drop. Junk. Hungry explorer. Oh. This is my little friend here. This is the Persuader. What we're going to do here is precisely measure. Yeah. I think that's good. That looks right to me. Does that look right to you?
Yep.
Nope. All I'm going to do is tack weld it on each side where it needs to be, and then we'll check the tailgate and make sure it's all going to clear. I kind of want it up as tight against that tailgate as I can get it. And then I know you just watched me bend these, and I'll probably bend this one back out after I get, well, it's right there where it needs to be actually. So yeah, those are flimsy, but there's a solid chunk of steel back here. And I want this push bumper to be able to push as hard as I can on stuff without it moving. So I've got some oil filled pipe we're going to weld to this solid chunk of steel that's bolted to the frame and run them back here, and we'll weld them on the back side of this thing. Just so that way it's solid. We'll have it one here, and then one in the middle. And then the rest of this is not going to bend. This thing is solid. So we'll get back to it. So now that we've got this side over here tacked in one spot, and it's got a good solid tack, but it's still flimsy enough to move a little tiny bit. I can look up across here and see roughly, I'm eyeballing from this pipe. I'm not doing this with a tape measure. This thing is a pile of crap. It's bent Probably the frame is tweaked because we picked cars up with it. It doesn't really get used more than 35 miles an hour at maximum. So pipe is dead even with that side. We look about dead even with this side. To adjust it, I've been moving this up and down. You know, we're pretty dead even right now. So I'm gonna put another tack top and bottom on both sides, and we'll weld her up solid and get started on that next pipe. Check and make sure the tailgate works. Make a tailgate latch for this thing next. Yep. We're going to shorten these chains up a little tiny bit, but that looks about like where I wanted it. So, yeah. We'll shorten them chains up by 1 link. I think we are ready to go. What we're gonna do, just so I can use this thing for now, because I don't know if I'm gonna have time to today or not, we're gonna wait on these pipes that go in, because this is still solid enough to push a car the way it is, but later I'll put these pipes back in. But for now, we're just gonna get these welded, clean everything off the outside of the bumper, and then weld the up pipes on the outside so I can use this thing if I need to. So, get that last part welded here. Alright, so the plan here is, I've still got to cut this a little more flush with the torch. Plan here is we're going to weld these up pipes on each side. I'm tired of replacing these things every time I knock one out with a car. When I use this bed and I move cars around, I'll pick them up, but as I start moving them, slacking the line, you know how picking a car up goes. They'll end up, as I'm trying to turn them, they'll come up here and they'll smack a taillight out just about every time, or they'll bend the corner of the bed in, and I'm not trying to replace taillights every time. So we'll put these little bars up here. This thing's a utility truck anyways, I don't really care what it looks like. We'll weld these bars solid, make it to where these cars have something to push again when we turn against once we turn the corner. So we'll snip this side up a little tiny bit, get it cleaner. We'll weld a couple bars on there. Let's get started. Alright. We got this ugly little edge here. I'm just going to clean it up a little bit. I made a huge stink about how this truck wasn't pretty, and I'm not trying to make it pretty, and then I'm over here trying to cut this edge super nice and clean. There was an old episode of the Dukes of Hazzard that I watched when I was growing up, and it was like my favorite episode. But they took Cooter's tow truck and welded a bunch of spikes and stuff on the side and used it to run a car off the side of the road. And I guess that's kind of how I've lived my life since it kind of changed my life, you know. Multiple times now. We're not going for perfection, we're just going for functionality. But I guess if we were going for perfection, I wouldn't be eyeballing everything right now. We can't hardly ever get a straight cut with it, just freehanding. See how it kind of went up at an angle like that? So I'm gonna have to try and Start back over on the other side here. See if I can get it to correct itself. We'll take and weld all the way down across here and get that welded solid to that. And then we'll have our, well, to keep the taillights safe for the most part. That one's already been hit. See the crack there, and it's missing that lens. This thing is the destroyer of taillights. About right. Yeah. There it is. Woo! Yeah, you better turn that fan on. Look at that. That was a big old gap too. That top half was pretty heavy and pretty wide. That ain't going nowhere. We'll be able to push some cars with that.
Yeah, Tristan's he's backing up here. We're gonna test it out with the car. We've got the bumper all put on. We're just gonna see how it works. He's gonna move. This thing further in so that it doesn't bend that bar. I already bent. This bar used to be telescoping. It would slide in and out of here, and I grabbed something and I didn't realize that the engine that I was pulling out was still hooked on the car, and it picked the front end of the car off of the ground and it bent this bar. So now we just use it right here if we're going to pick something up. quite going to do it on this one, but definitely a lot better. I like that bumper a lot better. Be able to push a lot more stuff with it if we need to. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Hit that like and subscribe button so we can grow the channel and keep doing stuff like this. And we'll see you guys later. Thank you.